If you like comparisons like this one, please like and subscribe. We're going to compare the Alpha Foxtrot Romulus with the SIG P211. Let's get into it. Shooter, make ready. Are you ready? Stand by. I'm here with the SIG P211. I'm going to shoot that up against the Romulus here in a moment. See how those things shoot side by side. Here we go. Okay, taking on the Romulus now. Let's see how she goes. The Romulus is a little lighter, so I feel the snap a little bit more, but I'm not sensing it in the recoil, in watching the optic. I feel like it's coming right back to zero right alongside my P211, so I'm not seeing a giant disparity in recoil between the two for sure. They both shoot really flat, really comfortable gun to shoot. I'm not getting the hot spot that I've heard others talk about on the far side safety there. That doesn't seem to be bothering me. We'll see if that does as the day goes on. But thoroughly impressed with this Romulus. Really, really flat shooting gun. Okay, we are testing the P211 against the Alpha Foxtrot Romulus. I've tried to set these guns up as similar as I can. Now, right away I can tell you the P211 fits my hand better. I've got giant hands, and the way that this gun fits my hand, my entire hand can get on there above the mag well, and I don't feel like I'm compressed, and I don't feel like the mag well is digging into my palm. When I get the Alpha Foxtrot out, you'll see a difference that's there. What I'm doing now is I've got the Mantis here for some recoil data that we're gonna do. I wanna see how these two guns compare from a recoil standpoint and really kind of do a side-by-side, not only how it feels in my hand, but what's the real data say about the recoil in that comparison between the P211 and the Alpha Foxtrot Romulus. Let's see how this goes. As always, my impression of the gun is fantastic. This is my favorite handgun, and really tough to take the crown in my eyes from the P211. Let's put this over on the Romulus and see how that data measures up. Okay, data on the SIG GTO. Muzzle rise, 0.17 degrees. Recoil width, this is how far left and right is the width of that. Sometimes it'll recoil to the left, sometimes to the right. It was a 1/4 degree, 0.26 degrees difference. And then the recoil angle was positive to the right, so the average was just barely in the positive direction to the right. Recovery time to back on shot was 0.24 seconds. Now, I want to give you a quick note here on the Mantis X. It's a fantastic tool. It's a really cool thing to look at the data, compare to that what you were feeling behind the gun. However, when this data is collected raw, there's probably a good 10% of the shots that are obviously that's not what the sensor got it wrong, or you know re-gripped your gun or something and the sensor picked that up. And so there will be shots in there that'll show like 20 degrees to the right or 20 degrees to the left, and I know that didn't happen. So I do my best to throw the bad data out and get as close to accurate as I can, but it's admittedly not perfect. Okay, we got the data from the P211. Mostly did doubles and then try to run a little string at the end there. I'll try and do the same kind of thing here with the Romulus. Let's see how it measures up. So the Romulus does come back to 0, but I don't know if this will show in the data, I feel like it moves a little bit more left to right than my SIG P211 does. Not a lot, but a little bit. I talked a minute ago about the grip. Let me show you that now. You can see the front of my hand fits really well, but the way that this grip sits, it digs into my palm a little bit. And I just feel like I have a little bit more room in the SIG. I'm not feeling any hot spots. To me, this is a really comfortable grip. There's a little bit of a sharp edge here, and I feel it as I grip the gun, but I don't feel it under recoil. There's just on the back edge of the grip there's a little spot that I would expect to give me a hot spot, but under recoil, it doesn't seem to do that at all. So gun seems to shoot really flat, really smooth, and fits my hand really well. Let's see what Mantis had to say. Okay, Alpha Foxtrot Romulus, muzzle rise, almost half a degree, 0.47 degrees. Recoil width, this is kind of the most extreme to the left, most extreme to the right. What's the width of that channel? 0.62 degrees. Recoil angle was in the positive direction to the right, so 0.08, not very far off center, was average. Recovery time, 0.306. Let's see how that measures up against the GTO. All right, so here's the data combined. You can see that the SIG recoils the muzzle rise a little bit less, 0.17 versus 0.47. So there's a fairly significant jump there, but we're kind of splitting hairs here because a 0.47 degree muzzle rise is virtually nothing. So the fact that GTO is flatter than that is just awesome. The recoil width. This is what I was feeling behind the gun. I felt like there was more variance left to right in the Romulus. Like I said, not a lot, but that's the one spot that I felt like I could tell the difference. Is I saw that dot move more left and right than it did on the GTO. So 0.62 versus 0.26. The recoil angle was almost identical, 0.07, 0.08 for the Romulus. And then the recovery time, SIG GTO 0.24 and the Alpha Foxtrot Romulus 0.306. So fraction of a second difference, 0.06, 0.066, I guess, if you do it all the way up 3 decimals. That's how fast these guns recover, and you're ready for that follow-up shot. So 2 incredible firearms. Okay, this comparison is closer than I thought it would be. In my hand, and at this point, where I'm standing, I have not been able to look at the Mantis data that you've already seen, so I'm going a little bit blind here. The SIG P211 is flatter, smoother, and feels better in my hand. The Romulus is a dollar for dollar incredible value. This firearm, the Romulus, costs about half of the cost of the P211. And it's way closer than that. This is a lighter gun, and physics tells you this gun's gonna shoot flatter. It's just got more weight behind it. It fits my hand better. I can get a better grip on the gun. I feel like I've got a better hold of it. That's not saying there's anything wrong with the grip on the Romulus. This is more of the traditional 2011, and I'll tell you, when I did the comparison side by side with the P211 and the Staccato XC, my feeling was similar. I felt like I had better control, better grip, and a smoother, flatter shot with the P211 in my hand than I did on the Staccato XC. I've got to get a hold of a Staccato XC and shoot it side by side with the Romulus, because I think in my hand, that's going to be a more close comparison. This is my favorite gun for a reason. It just fits me. I think the comp is a little bit more, it's tough to tell, right? It's tough to tell if it's the comp or the weight, or it's a combination of those things. But this gun shoots flatter in my hand, feels flatter, the dot moves less, and it tracks right back to 0. The Romulus shoots like a dream. This is literally the first several magazines I've put through this gun. I will get used to it, I will adapt to it, and I'm sure I will get better with it over time. The king stands, but it's a whole lot closer than I thought. And so if you're a guy who's looking at budget going, hey, I can get a 2011, but hey, I also need to, I don't know, buy diapers or whatever it is that's, you know, taking priority in your life, you would not be, in my first impressions here, you would not be making a dumb decision by going with the Alpha Foxtrot Romulus. These are coming in around the 1300. You can find them around the 1300 galactic credit mark, or Beskar, or whatever kind of measurement you want to use for a measuring stick there that YouTube will appreciate. And this is almost double that, not quite, but almost double that. There is one advantage from a competition standpoint. From competition, both of these guns as they sit are open guns, okay? So that means with a compensator on it, if you're shooting in USPSA or most local matches, you're gonna be pushed into the open category, and you're gonna be pushed against guys that are running $10,000 race guns. That's both of these guns. But the P211 has an advantage here. This comp removes. And SIG and multiple aftermarket companies have a comp delete. Sight block is not the right term for this, but they've got an island block here that's a comp delete that you can throw on this gun and run this in limited optics. That's an advantage for a competitive shooter. I've shot this in limited optics. I've shot this in open. I've shot this a lot in PCSL. I love the flexibility that gives me. You're looking for a pure 2011? Alpha Foxtrot makes a Romulus with no comp, but I couldn't do that. If I'm gonna get one of these, I wanted one that I can shoot on the range, that I can have an absolute blast with, that I can take new shooters out and get them adjusted to it. This is just it's a pleasure to shoot. I am interested to see if maybe my buddies over at Aquilla Arsenal can mill a new sight block out of it. Maybe make a comp delete for this gun. That would be an interesting game changer. That would put the Romulus a little more in the flexibility category of the P211. Folks, in the hand, on the range, out here in the desert, it's close. It's not too close to call. To me, the SIG P211 is the superior gun. Is it double? That's for you and your budget, you and your wife to figure out. And I don't think you can go wrong if you're looking at a 2011, and if you're getting into a budget entry level 2011. I know it's really hard to say that with something that's coming in as high price as something like this is, but for an entry level 2011, this is the nicest one I've put my hands around. I have shot the Gerson, I've shot the Fusion, I own the Prodigy. This is by far the most tight-fitting, smoothest, flat shooting of that category that I've seen. This probably shoots, I would say this shoots better than my Kimber 2K11. Now, my Kimber 2K11 is not comped, and I wouldn't expect it to outshoot the comped version, but this shoots flatter and smoother than my current Kimber because of that comp. And probably more fun to shoot. Man, that's a tough gun to pass up. Now, why did I choose the Alpha Foxtrot Romulus? Well, I wanted to understand that budget, and I kept hearing buzz about this gun. And then I was speaking to my buddy Lawrence over at Aquilla Arsenal. They do custom 2011 work. And I was looking at, hey, I want to build a really nice 2011. And I said, look, I see guys that, like I saw PewView took the Gershon and had it sent off and turned into an amazing 2011. And I asked him, if I was to do that with any gun that was out there, what should I pick up? Without skipping a beat, he said, go get a Romulus. Get a Romulus. He says, out of the box, the Kimber and the Romulus are the two best 2011s for the money. And he says, on the Atlases and those high-end ones, you're paying for a name. He says, this is a very well-built gun. Now, he said, the issues with it, he's like, the only thing that I really think I wish was different about it, he says, it's got metal parts, they're all metal parts, but they're MIM. And he's like, and he says, I've never seen them fail, they seem like to be running fine, but he's like, I would adjust some of those things, I would make some of that a little different. He's like, get a heavier, a metal grip on it at some point. So I got this gun so that I can build it into a killer 2011. It's my project gun. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and I look forward to doing that. But I'm impressed out of the box. Heck of a gun. There you go. What questions do you have, guys? Hit me in the comments. Let me know what your take is. Which one would you buy? Is there another 2011 that you think should be on the table for somebody to consider in this price range? What's the 2011 that you think a shooter that's looking at getting into limited optics or looking at competing a little bit more, what guns should be on their radar? Let me know below. Thanks for stopping by.